Hi, welcome or welcome back to the Shift Podcast with Wambui. On today's episode, I really want to talk about the realities of working remotely because there has been a lot of romanticization. A lot of people have romanticized working from home, and I've seen it, especially if you're on TikTok or on Instagram or even here on Facebook. You've seen people who are saying they're going to coach you. You can pay them either to get a virtual assistant job, but online writing is quite popular here in Kenya, or get remote jobs. And I see a lot of people who really want to leave their 9 to 5, which is great. Honestly, if you can do it, I think it's a good thing for you. But I think there are a little bit of unsaid things that are usually there when you're thinking about how working from home, the realities of actually working remotely, especially if you're in Africa. And to be precise, in Kenya, so I know a thing or two. Also, because I've been working remotely for the past 6 to 7 years. So yeah, this is a field that I think I have the right to talk about. Yeah. The first thing that a lot of people mistake remote work with, they think that it is this raw. How can I put this? You see, when you search up on Pinterest, people working remotely or people who are working from home, they are digital nomads. They're living this aesthetically pleasing life. That's how I can put it. Yes, they're living quite very aesthetically pleasing lives. But is that how it really looks if you're working, say, for example, in Nairobi, Lagos, in Accra? It's not like that. It in most cases it looks like you working from a corner in your house. And for some of us, we create like a space where you are happy to work at if you're fortunate enough. And when you're starting out, one thing that you're going to experience is a whole difference, especially when now you have deadlines and then there are power cuts. When you have deadlines and the internet is not working, it's chaotic. It's sometimes very frustrating. But there's one thing that was a huge problem initially when I was starting was the internet. Before now, Safaricom Fiber now started. For me, Zuku wasn't reliable. For I've had reviews of Zuku and they were very bad. Safaricom, on the other hand, did this thing where they started. How can I put it? They started delivering fiber everywhere. So we had Safaricom Fiber. Now before that, you had to tether. You had to tether your internet to work, and it was so chaotic. And even now, I say if there's no power but you need to work, that's the only thing you can do. And power cuts are so prevalent in Kenya nowadays, especially with this government. They're so prevalent than they were in the previous government, and that is going to hurt your job when you're working. Let's say, for example, you're working a job where you have to clock in. Internet power cuts are going to affect you. Even when you're working, say, for example, as a freelancer and you're offering a particular service, maybe you have set some time for you to do your work. It's going to affect you, and it's something that you have to be keen on. You can get a backup, a solar backup, or maybe this. What do you? I don't. I can't. I've seen adverts, but I don't have one. I don't know the real name, but I've seen it. It goes for something for around 40 to 60,000. You can get it so that you can ensure you're always online, which is a good thing because sometimes you need to get into a meeting or you even have an interview and you can't get in just because you do not have power. It sucks, you know. The other issue you'll notice is the time gap. The time gaps, especially if you're in Kenya and working for a client in the US, the time gap is crazy because you'll need to get into meetings with them. You'll find yourself now having very weird sleeping patterns, which can eventually even affect your health. If you're working for a client in the UK, that's quite different because the time zones are pretty much almost the same. Tachana like for 2 hours or 3 hours, which is okay. If you ask me, UK is okay. But if now you get a client in Australia, hey my god, now that one is a whole other game because it's like they're almost a full day, but not a full day, but they're before you. So you have to figure out. I once had a job where I had to wake up at 3 a.m. to clock in because it was 8. Where was it? It was 8, around 8 a.m. there. So I had to clock in at 3 a.m. and now clock out now during the day. So you see how my sleeping patterns look like because, of course, because I'm working from home, you cannot like just because you've clocked out you go and sleep. So you find yourself sleep normally at night and then waking up at maybe, let's say, something like around 2:30 so that you can clock in. Anyway, I left it because that was a very hectic job. The other thing you have to look out for is cultural gaps. Like how can I? All of us are human beings, yes, but the way we see life is quite different. The things as Africans we excuse, there are people who are in other continents or in other countries that can. Africans are quite known for the African timing thing. However, a lot of clients in different places see that as being unreliable. You see, something like the people who, once you're going to work at a workplace, you know you're supposed to call your boss sir or madam. And then there are people who, especially in other places, you are like calling somebody sir feels kind of weird because you feeling like there's some power, like power dynamics that are there. But you culturally, you think labda you're supposed to call somebody sir or madam. And you see, you get like their whole cultural gap. So I think the best you can do is if you get a client or you get to work for a company, say in the UK or the US, you can maybe try to align yourself with the culture so that you cannot come off. Remember, I understand you're going to say that as an African, you're supposed to remain to your Africanness and be true to yourself. At the end of the day, all of us want money. So you just small code switching will make you be employed or will make you keep a job. What's the harm? As long as when you clock out, you don't become now an English. As long as when you clock out now, you're no longer like you're no longer giving us like your UK vibes and yeah, and all that. The other reality of working from home is working from home does not necessarily mean that you're free or you have freedom. Sometimes you might be caught up working in your working station for so long, and you might even find yourself working more than you are working when you are 9 to 5. And it's a blessing, it's a good thing, but I think when you're getting into it, you should not think that now I have a lot of free time, I want to be able to do. Remember, you're still employed, you're not you do not, it's not like entrepreneurship, you're still working for somebody, so you'll need time to sit down and actually work. And sometimes you might end up even working more, only that you're working from home. Also, the other thing that I've experienced is just because you're working from home, some of your family members can think that you're not working. And I know it comes from a good place. It's because a lot of people do not understand until now, especially after COVID. That's when people understood that people can actually work from home and work for companies internationally, but they're still working from home. Like me, for example, I do not think my family member understood what I don't think even today they'd understand. But at least they're supportive anyway. But the thing is that thing where people will think you do not work, especially if you live with people who do not understand the complexities of working from home, especially when you're starting out. It's chaotic. It's chaotic. But the other thing is working remotely is a blessing. Let's not forget that, because there are opportunities that we get, and there are people we get to work with that will not have otherwise had those opportunities if this wasn't an option. It's a great thing. It gives you exposure to a lot of things, and it gives you exposure to things that are beyond us here in Africa, and how even people see us and how we see the world. It changes how you think about money. It changes how you think about life. It changes how you even think about the complexities of workplaces, or how work is supposed to be done, or how, say for example, you're supposed to experience work. It's actually a good thing for me, if you ask me. But something that is often overlooked when you're thinking about now working from home or working remotely is the mental health, because for most of for a lot of us, especially if you live alone or you spend a lot of time alone because you're working from home, there is some aspect of your mental health that is going to be affected. It's going to be affected because you spend so much time alone, and hence why I was looking forward to start a podcast that can yap. I know it's not the same concept, so because I'm not talking to people, but at least I'm talking. At least because you do not have a community. You see people who wake up every day and go to work. You see that people form friendships there, like they form friendships from their colleagues. They are not lonely. Us, on the other hand, you have to entertain yourself. Kabisa, because, or you have to be very, very intentional about how you're going to go about making friendships and keeping friendships, because you do not have the luxury of your life giving you friendships. Nothing ever happens, and it's a lot. Yeah, yeah. So sometimes there's a lot of pressure to show when you show up online, but you feel invisible because these people don't know you. They only know you from like here, like the way I'm talking. Know me from here, and just that's it. You don't know me from any other angle. The other thing that affects it is because when you're working from home, there's hardly ever any separation from the work at home, unless you make it very clear, and now your work. Like your life at home, you can find yourself having to cater to other things or other needs, rather than, especially if you're a woman, those are other complexities, especially if you're working from home. You have to take care now of your home while still working. So lazima ujipange hapo, and it can easily take a toll on you, because you wonder what is more important than what, because you need to work, you need to make money, but you still have other duties to get on. So you can arrange yourself in such a way that you do not have to struggle with everything. But another thing a lot of people don't talk about are the differences of working remotely, full time, and also freelancing. Because I've seen and I've talked to people who do not understand these two things. You see, the thing about freelancing, say for example, is you're a good photographer, right? Or you're a good editor, you're a good video editor, let's say audio editor. So you do services for people who produce podcasts, and people who are photographers, you edit pictures for people online. You see? So you offer that service to multiple people. So let's say I come to you, I say I want your video editing service. Another person comes to you, they want your video editing service. Another person comes to you, that. That is freelancing. The good thing is, the only part is you're working remotely. You do not need to go and meet up with these people or go to their premises and do whatever service that you're offering from their premises. You do it from home. So that is freelancing. You get? Full-time remote jobs, on their other hand, are like, say for example, a company is looking for a full stack developer, right? So that company advertises, you apply, you interview, you get the job, and then you clock in that job every day of the week. You have to attend meetings, you have to do all that. You have, like, you're not offering them, yes, you're offering your services, and that is what you do, but you work there. You get? So that is the difference of a remote job and a freelancing job. But there's so many other realities of working remotely. Working remotely is great, but I had to have this conversation because I feel like it's overly romanticized, and we could do better. We could do better with trying to explain the real things of how working remotely works. Also, I've forgotten that working remotely is not as secure as a lot of people think. You could easily today have a job, and tomorrow you wake up, you no longer have a job. Also, when you're working remotely, it's very easy for a client to ghost you and not pay you than another. So it requires a lot of trust. So working remotely, you have to keep your options open. You have to learn. You have to grow. You have to ensure that you upskill. You have to ensure that you keep up with the trends, so that you're never left behind. Because while you're still working a job, you know that job can come to and a lot of jobs do not have benefits. There are some that do, but a lot of jobs do not have benefits like other people do, like insurance, like pensions and health insurance and all that. They do not. So every money that you get is for you to figure out how you're going to pay your taxes, you're going to get your insurance, you're going to plan your... It's not a bed of roses, but it's a good thing. It's an option we have, especially in Africa, where a lot of our governments have failed to create infrastructure and systems that are able to absorb a lot of people to get jobs in our country. So we are grateful nonetheless. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe, and all that good jazz, and I'll be very, very grateful. Also, it's free to like, and it's free to share, free to subscribe, and we can continue the conversation on the comment section if you'd like to. And also, I'd really love to hear what you'd like me to talk about in the future. So until next time, bye-bye.